In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 weird art habits that I noticed over the years that I have, and then I'm going to be sharing with you 5 habits that'll help you become more of an effective artist. The first weird art habit that I noticed a while ago that I had was that I used to only draw on the right side of my sketchbook. So I used to have a lot of sketchbooks back when I was in middle school and high school, and you can easily tell that I used to only draw on the right side of my sketchbook. Here's a few examples from 2 of my sketchbooks. I think that I had this habit because 1, I was left-handed, and 2, I didn't want to smudge the left side of my sketchbook with the drawings that I would have potentially made there. And also you can see that over time the drawing that was on the right side had smudged its way onto the left side of the sketchbook anyway. So I ended up not drawing on the left side of my sketchbook. So yeah, that's a weird art habit of mine that I used to have. A second art habit of mine is that whenever I draw a person or a character, I always start with the eyes. And in general, I just like drawing eyes. I think a lot of artists like drawing eyes. Let me know if you're an artist and in the comments below if you draw eyes a lot. Because even when I was in school, I would just doodle eyes all over my work and stuff like that. Doodling is also just a normal art habit of ours. Habit number 3, back in middle school and high school, if you knew me personally, you definitely knew about this habit, but I would carry around art and comics in a binder of mine. So obviously in school we would carry around binders and stuff, but I always had an extra binder that was reserved specifically for art and comics that I would make. And I actually still have it today. So this old thing is my comics binder, and as you can see it's falling apart because it's literally the same binder that I've had since high school. I think I've only replaced it once, and even now I've actually replaced it entirely. I have a new manga binder, I'm calling it, because the type of comics I make is manga comics. So this is the new one, and so it's a lot more clean. You can see, oh jeez, I'm working on some stuff. 4th habit, and this one is actually a little bit different because it's a little bit problematic. So my 4th habit is that I would oftentimes start a painting and then not get back to it until maybe a few months later. This is a huge problem for me, and it's one that I most recently had the mindset of me trying to change. I always have the problem of starting on a painting or a drawing or a concept and then not getting back to it, and a lot of the times it'll end up not being a completed project. And I want to change that because I want more completed stuff, I want more things to show, and I want to be more habitual in having created finished work. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Habit number 5 that I know a lot of people do, and I used to do it myself, but another bad habit that I used to have was bad mouthing my own work and calling my work bad. I don't know why I used to do this. I don't know why people do it now. I had this mind shift a few years ago about me being less pessimistic and being less of a, I don't know the word for it. I had the mind shift a few years ago about being more positive about my work because I feel like it does have an effect on you subconsciously. Having that subconscious effect on you will have an effect on your work itself, and you'll start being more positive about your work and having better outcomes because of your positive mindset. That's something that I'm trying to talk more about as I, become more of a voice for other artists to listen to. So yeah, look forward to hearing more from that. More of that from me. Words are still hard for me. Now I want to introduce 5 more habits for you to implement into your own practices in order to become a more effective artist. This first habit is for you to practice as often as you can. You've probably heard this a lot. You've probably heard people say practice every day. If you're a painter, if you're a drawer, if you do realistic art, if you do cartoony art, Honestly, I do think practicing as often as you can, and if you can do it every day, do it every day. It's something that will help you improve very steadily, because there's moments in your like art progression where you'll like, is this the right direction? Your progression will feel like this. Sometimes it'll feel like a slope, and sometimes it'll feel like a plateau. If you practice as often as you can, the time it takes for you to reach that progression, whatever part of that progression you're on, if it's high progression or like plateauing progression, practicing as often as you can will help you go faster into your own progression. And that's something that I've seen for myself. Back in high school and in college, I would draw like every day. I would paint as often as I can back in high school. And I remember seeing the growth over time. I even have a few paintings that I might show in a video one day about my progression as an artist through high school. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Second habit for you is to not be selfish about your work. Let me explain. When you share your work, especially if you're in class and like you're in a critiquing session, don't be selfish about your work. Make sure you are more open to what other people are saying about your work, because if you learn to take legit criticism, it's like steroids for your art progression. When you take like very effective criticisms and you like take it to heart and you learn from these criticisms, you can like 5x the amount of time that you take to improve on, you know, the weaknesses in your art. I've always have tried to take criticism well, and I never take it personally whenever people like try to say, oh, you need to fix this, or this is off, or I'm not really getting this part of your art. So yeah, even though art can feel like a very personal thing, especially if you want to become a professional artist, you need to learn to take criticism well in order for you to improve on yourself as an artist. All right, number 3, if you're not sharing your work, share your work. And the thing I want to do is that I want to share more of my art on social media. So I share art on Instagram and a little bit of Facebook. I want to try posting on TikTok more. Also, my socials will be tagged in the description if you're interested in that. And of course, I'm going to be sharing on YouTube as well. And don't just share finished versions of your art. Learn to document and share the process of your art, because people who aren't artists and will come across your work find it very fascinating when they see the process behind you making your art. And it's a little bit of a insider? I don't know what I was trying to say. It's a little bit of insight into the mindset of an artist that people will really like nowadays. So don't be reluctant to share your work, especially if you know that it'll, you know, catch a few eyes and a compliment or two. And then finally, I think this is the fourth one. Always look for other artists that you can aspire to be like. And you don't have to like copy an artist, but you can look at more experienced and more effective artists in your niche in order to improve on yourself. I can even say if you want to be more like this artist, or if you want to incorporate the way they do something into your own art style, try actually copying one of their pieces of art. Not in a way to like claim it as your own, because that's plagiarism. But try to copy it for yourself, and like don't share it as your own thing. You can probably share it as, hey, I'm practicing drawing like this person or painting like this person, because people do like that as well. Practicing from looking at other artists is another thing that I really enjoyed doing back in the day. Whenever I was practicing manga, I would look at the manga artists for Dragon Ball, Naruto, let's see, Attack on Titan, which is an interesting one because that's a whole nother video. There's one last habit that I forgot to mention, and it goes together with the first one. As often as you practice, you need to be deliberately learning about the fundamentals of your practice, whether it's drawing for comics, drawing for animation, or drawing for painting. Learn the fundamentals of your practice. and deliberately put in time to study those fundamentals and incorporate those studies into your everyday practices. I think that was the end of this video. So if you enjoyed anything that I've had to say in this video, make sure you leave a like. And if you're interested in more content, please subscribe. And if you're interested in what this painting is, you can check out this video on the screen right now.